lot of the athletes last night after yesterday's opening competition, and they were all over the moon. They were all super excited to have been part of the competition yesterday. Other athletes to watch, well, Balázs Adolf, the Hungarian world champion back in 2021. He is also a formidable paddler, and the next of the Spaniards, Manuel Garrido, but I don't see his name now. Have I missed his name on the start list? Let's have a look there. He's certainly not on that page. No, I don't see his name on the start list. So that is a big out for this race. Let's just check. I'm just going down the list here. Nope, I don't see his name on the start list. So he is not lining up today, but it'll take nothing away the contest. And also the other athlete to watch, if he's here out there, is Sergei Tarnovsky, who's already been out on the water this morning doing a C1 500 race. In fact, I think he won his heat this morning, Sergei Tarnovsky, so he's already been out and about this morning. He has got a very, very busy week in front of him because he's doing sprint and marathon. There is that option, people can do it, and he has taken up the invitation. All right, we are waiting now. We are in the starter's hands. And off we go. What a even start that is. A couple of athletes, though, dropping back pretty quickly. Let's see who is. You can see Balázs Adolf there in the middle of the field with the white cap on backwards. No need to go hammer and tong early on. It is a very long race, 21 kilometres. So you really do need to just get yourself into a rhythm nice and early, and you can see already the Spaniards, they're not next to each other, but they are both already moving into a prominent position. So both Campos and Duro both moving across now comfortably, and they will take up a prominent position. 17, I think I said 21 kilometres, 17 kilometres for the men's final. And we're getting now a little, looks like they've split themselves into two groups. They're coming across now to join as one big group. Oh, we've already got a capsize. Who is that? I wonder if that's anyone that we need be concerned about, where we have an early capsize. I didn't see who that was. I hope it wasn't one of the athletes that we are expecting to be up there challenging. So there is Duro. Now, I think we've got... anyway, so Balázs Adolf there has gone out to an early lead there. He's in the green singlet today. I thought he was wearing the white cap backwards, but he is out there without a hat today, which is a little bit unusual. And I reckon we've got three Spaniards there, so I think our start list was not so that's great. If Garrido is there, which it certainly looks like he's there, that is going to add an interesting aspect. He is gold medalist from 2022 at the World Championships, two-time silver medalist and a bronze medalist in 2023. Okay, what have we got here? A bit of a split going on here, it looks like. So a couple of the athletes trying to get clearer water, get away from that front leading pack, which continues to be Adolf. Now I think it's Duro now coming across. Maybe he is found an... Oh, hang on, here we go. Oh, no, we're about to have the women's race start as well. So we'll come back to the men's competition in just a moment. But the women's race is about to get underway. We'll bring you that start shortly as we focus back on the men. And it is still Jamie Duro in front now. I think he's taken over from Balázs Adolf from Hungary. I think it is Garrido who is now into second, is it? And Campos sitting in there in the third position. And the yellow shirt, I believe it belongs to Dmitry Youngchuk from Ukraine, but we'll get that confirmed. There are two, or could be Denis Davidov actually, who had a very good World Championships, finished 6th in fact at the World Championships. So we'll come back to the men in just a moment and get a better idea of top pack, but this is about to be the start of the women's, and of course, the out-and-out favourite is Ludmila Babak, the Ukrainian. What a record she's got. World champion in 2020, in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. So she is, and there she is already. Now, right next to her, it is her Ukrainian teammate, Shankova, who had some dramas yesterday in the short distance and lost a huge amount of ground early on and was basically out of the race in the first 500 metres. So it really took a lot out of the excitement out of that race. So she'll be looking for a much better performance today. So the women's race is underway. We'll switch between the two. We'll switch between the two so that you can keep across what is happening. But look at this, the three Spaniards ganging up against Balázs Adolf from Hungary. So the three Spaniards are there, Campos, Garrido, and Duro. Duro leading at the moment from Garrido and Campos, and Balázs Adolf just getting in amongst them in the green singlet. So the three Spaniards out there. I wonder if they'll be working together today. And already, look at that little gap breaking up already to the fifth and sixth position. So Duro taking over the lead. Adolf now slipping into second. That is Garrido, the second of the Spaniards, and then Manuel Campos on the outside, the one closest to the bank is Manuel Campos. So they'll come down now to complete the first lap. It's a very, very long competition, of course. It is the long distance C1 men's marathon. So this Super Cup, it's an inaugural event where we've actually combined five disciplines into one event. 5 of the ICF disciplines. Oh, there's someone else that's capsized as well. So that's in the women's race, I believe. Somebody's gone over there. So a couple of very early swims. And there is Ludmila Babak out in front, as you would expect. Now, the others to watch in the women's race, Annette Werman, the German, 4th in the World Championships this year. Lily Matkovic, the under-23 world champion, who also finished 5th in the Senior World Championships. And Celine Hewitt, the French paddler, who was 6th in the World Championships. So they are amongst the athletes to watch in the women's race as well. So we'll try and flick between the two as often as we can so you can see how the races are panning out. But we've got a lot of time to focus on both events. So it looks like it is Balázs Adolf who maybe is taken back over the lead. The Hungarian. And a little bit of jostling going on there amongst the Spaniards behind him. It looks like Duro moving now onto the inside. Garrido hasn't really moved at all. He's just sat there looking very relaxed, very calm. And then the veteran Campos just sucking it all in. I wonder how many marathon races he's done in his career. Don't forget, his very first medal came back in 2007 at a World Championships in 2007 when he picked up the bronze. So there we have Babak, Tishankova and Werman. They are the front three in the women's race, as we might expect. I suspect that Lily Matkovic isn't far behind them either, the Hungarian. But Babak moving into a position which she is very, very familiar. The lead of the women's long-distance canoe. So the men coming down now in front of the grandstands for the first time. And it is a group of 4 who will go past the judges, salute the judges for the first time, with Adolf in front of the 3 Spaniards. Babak leading the women's race. So lap 1 of 7 for the women's race. I've got up there 13 Ks, just double check. So yes, I was going to mention, so we have 5 athletes, 5 disciplines here. We have the marathon, obviously. We have the canoe polo, which is happening right in front of us. And I can tell you, there's a lot of people coming down. They've not seen a lot of canoe polo before, and they've come down and they're very much enjoying the spectacle that's been put on today. And in fact, the World Championships will be here next week. Straight off the back of this, the 2024 ICF Canoe Polo World Championships will unfold. And I think that's going to be a hotly contested competition. So we have marathon canoe polo, we have the canoe slalom, of course, canoe sprint. We saw heats of the canoe sprint this morning. And then, of course, we also have dragon boat today. We've got a dragon boat race coming up for you as well. And pretty excited about the dragon boat because it will be included in the World Games next year. Dragon boat. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that when we get to that race later on today, the dragon boat. But there's a lot of excitement in the air about the possibilities with a dragon boat. So let's have a look now. It looks like the 2 Ukrainians in the women's race have gone out pretty hard early on, just splitting the field early. Ludmila Babak, no stranger at all to racing by herself. It is normally her modus operandi. She has been challenged on a few occasions by certainly Sofia Kizban from Hungary, who unfortunately isn't here, but has really given her some tough times in some of these long-distance world championships. And there's Duro and Adolf out in front of the men's race. So let's just try and get an idea of... So it looks like there's a group of 3 now, so somebody's dropped off. It looks like it... So what was a group of 4 has now become a group of 3. And in fact, very soon, maybe becoming a group of 2. So Jamie Duro, who was in very good form yesterday in the short race and took the gold medal there, he's following up today with some pretty good form already. I know it's early days in the men's race, but he has, here, look at that, they've strung out a little bit there. And looks like it might be Garrido, is it, that's dropping off for the men's race. So, but just a race in 2 already in the men's C1. So they stuck together for 1 short lap, and now all of a sudden there's a big problem there for 2 of the Spaniards. Campos and Garrido, they're both former world champions, and they are slipping back a little bit. But as we saw at the World Championships, races can change pretty quickly as Balázs Adolf now takes over in the lead. Jamie Duro changes his line. So it'd be interesting to see. I wonder where that move was made. It must have been made on the bend as they took the bend there. Now you can see in the background there, you can see the canoe polo courts just in front of the big stands there. Pretty exciting to have all of this on our doorstep here. So Adolf and Duro out in front. Ooh, Duro looking a little bit unsteady there momentarily, but he's back on track again now. So in a moment, we'll just get a bit of an idea of whether the gap is widening between the front couple of athletes. Well, it certainly looks like it is. Wow, well and truly. Well and truly, they are blowing this wide open, these 2 athletes. I wonder, though, if the tactics could backfire, because Garrido and Campos are both very, very experienced paddlers. And oh, look at this in the women's race. It looks like we've got a change in the leadership here. Shenkova from Ukraine getting in front of her Ukrainian teammate, Ludmila Babak. So Shankova throwing down the challenge to Babak in the women's race, which will make it very interesting indeed. Ludmila Babak not often finds herself chasing athletes, so we could be in for a bit of an exciting tussle in the women's race as well. Look at these two though, Duro and Adolf. Now Jamie Duro decides it's his turn to take the lead. Is he going to try and put a bit of space between himself and the Hungarian? Adolf, of course, a 2021 world champion. Mixes his time between the canoe sprint and the marathon. Probably doesn't focus as much on the marathon as he'd like. Does do a lot of the 5,000 meter racing in canoe sprint competition. But it is good to see him back here racing today. He looked a little bit off yesterday in the short distance, but certainly this is more up his alley, the long distance men's final in the canoe. So the second group of Spaniards looks like they are going to work together. Campos and Garrido have now joined up as a chase pack, although at this stage doesn't look like there's a lot of chasing going on. As we look now, the beautiful view of this amazing course. There's the sprint course right in front of us as well. You'll see the canoe polo to the left, and there is the main grandstand. And out the back of there, you can maybe see, let's see if as we continue to pan around, no, we just miss it, but the canoe slalom course is just out the back as well. So, everything just placed in this one location here in Hangzhou. And it's just amazing. To sit here now as I am, and I'm looking out across a canoe polo game and watching in the background the canoe marathon paddlers heading past. It is really such a wonderful, and an hour ago I was down watching canoe slalom, and before that I was watching canoe sprint, all here at the one venue. And this is the Super Cup, and we're hopeful that this will be the first of many Super Cups, and I think it will flourish, it will grow, and there'll be new innovations every year, which will add a little bit more excitement to the competition. And the athletes, what a wonderful way for them to finish off a long, hard year, to come here and compete in this unique format. And watching athletes from different disciplines chatting at breakfast and meeting each other and talking about their own competitions, it really is wonderful to see, because very rarely, besides the Olympics, do we have the chance for athletes from various competitions to come together. So Babak and Shankova having a nice little tussle out in front in the women's race, and in the men's race it is Adolf and Duro who are having a tussle. So a race in two in both the men's and the women's canoe. You can see the gap there, back to third and fourth, and then a chase pack of about 4 athletes. Now I'm not sure who is in that group. I would expect probably there'd be at least Davidov from Ukraine, and I would think Wilgar probably from Hungary will also be in that group. Balázs Adolf now just putting the nose of his canoe in front. Now, it'd be interesting to see if they decide to work together out here in front. There's no obligation, of course, on them to do it. It's like the Tour de France. It's like the long-distance cycling races. You can make the other paddler do all the work if you choose not to, or you can come to some sort of a unspoken agreement that they will share the duty, share the workload until they get towards the end of the race, and then it is every man for himself. But we'll see if they often change position, if they take turns at leading. And the Ukrainians, well, I'm not sure that they'll work together because Shankova would very much like to get a win over her Ukrainian teammate, Ludmila Babak, multiple world champion, 7 times a world champion. Shankova, bronze this year, just a couple of weeks ago, silver back in 2023. And she would like to get a win over her, and looks like she's putting a little bit of a space there at the moment between herself and her highly credentialed Ukrainian teammate. As you can see by the water, it's pretty good conditions here today for competition. Now I'm looking now at the men's chase pack that is just coming past me, and it looks like they're closing the gap. So that group of 2, the 2 Spaniards, that is about to become a group of 5 or 6. I think that they are about to tack on, and that is going to make the race for the bronze medal very interesting indeed. But it's early days. There's no reason why as a group of 5 or group of 6 that they can't chase down Juro and Adolf. And now it's Juro who's taken over the lead, by the way, of the men's competition. Shankova still leading the women's race. She's been doing so now for a lap or so. Babak just biding her time. And it looks like we have a couple of the Chinese back in 3rd and 4th in the women's race. And then a gap then to Werman and Matkovic as well is there, I think, in that chase pack as well for the women's race. So Juro in the lead at the moment. He's taken over, so maybe these 2 are working together. Adolf now happy to sit back in 2nd position. And I can tell you now, because I'm looking out from my commentary position, that chase pack is now a group of 5. So the 2 Spaniards have been caught up, and the chase pack is a group of 5. And there you are at the top of the screen, you can see it. 5 paddlers now working together, and will they work together to try and bridge this gap? There's some good paddlers amongst them, including the 2 Spaniards, Campos and Garrido. They don't get much better than that, in fact, and in men's canoe paddling. So they will be very experienced campaigners, and they will know exactly when to strike. I mean, they may well have judged that Adolf and Juro maybe have gone out too hard, and they're backing themselves. Now, up at the top of the screen there, you can see the long hair of the French paddler. That is Céline Hewitt from France. So she's a little bit off the pace at the moment, but expect her to work her way through. So there is the chase pack, and you can see there's Sergio Marcel is there from Portugal, and it is Yanchuk from Ukraine in there as well, and the 2 Spaniards. And so the 2 Ukrainians are there. Davidov is there as well. So I see Davidov there, Yanchuk is there, Campos is there, Maciel is there. Now where's Garrido? Is he dropping off now? Is he dropping off now? So that would tell me that this chase pack of 4 has picked up the pace. They've picked up the pace, and they may be working together now as a group of 4, because I think that Garrido, there he is, I think he's at the nose of his boat, just coming into the picture now. So I thought he might be dropping off, but maybe he's tacking back on again to make that a group of 5. And the fact that Garrido did drop off there momentarily suggests to me that maybe that chase pack is just lifting the pace just a little bit. So a different race format. A lot of our marathon courses, of course, we've seen in various parts of the world. Some of them are very, very long and through some very scenic locations. This is just laps of this big, wide venue there. There we are. There's the chase pack. It does look like there are still 5 in that group. In fact, maybe even somebody else is tacking on. Are they to make that a group of 6? Or no, I think he might be a little bit back. That's a bit misleading, that angle. But now at the front, looks like on the bottom of the screen, Adolf taking over again to lead. Adolf taking over to lead from Duro. Now, who have we got here? This is, don't think these athletes are challenging at the moment for a prominent position. It's going to get a bit confusing for our people in the truck to know who's who, but I'm pretty certain we know who's leading both the men's and the women's. So there is that the chase pack for the men? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's definitely 4 there, and I reckon Garrido, he's going to get dropped very soon. I reckon he's going to get dropped very soon, and I think it'll become a pack of 4. Garrido out to it by himself, in fact. Is he trying to come across now to just get himself into the V there, to get himself tacked on? I think he might have missed the boat. I think he's lost his chance. He's going to look at the moment at this, and it is going to fill him with despair because they are leaving him behind. He's going to have to work. Oh, gee, a couple of the athletes looking in that group of 4 a little bit unsteady there, including Maciel from Portugal. Campos doesn't want to be headed, so Campos, Maciel, and the 2 Ukrainians, Yanchuk and Davidov. And still, Garrido tries to hang on. Has he caught up with them again? Maybe he has. I think he has. I think he's managed to get back in there. So that was a good effort there on that bend when the 4 in front were getting themselves in a little bit of trouble, a little bit unsteady. He's managed to slip back up and tack himself back onto that group to make it a group of 5. And there's a 6th athlete that is just hanging off there, not quite in the group, but just trying to hanging on by his fingernails to that pack. But out in front, it is still the Hungarian Balázs Adolf and the Spaniard Jamie Duro, who lead the race. Duro yesterday winning the short course gold medal. So he's obviously feeling in some pretty good form heading into today's racing. Has been a long season, and the marathon paddlers, most of them had their world championships just a couple of weekends ago, so they've backed up and come out here today and are really digging deep. So we see a couple of the Chinese athletes.
Polo, pitch number 1. Go for Team Portugal. The score is 0-4.
Now I'm just trying to work out that Polish, the Polish athlete there. I think it could be Grolkovic, Paulina Grolkovic from Poland. I don't think they're up challenging for a prominent position. I think it's still the 2 Ukrainians out in front. We haven't seen the lead pack of the women's race for a little while. So let's have a look there. There is definitely a group of 5 there again now. Garrido has got himself back in there. Campos continues to lead that chase pack. And everyone else seems to be quite happy to leave him to his own devices. Yanchuk and Maciel there on either side of the veteran Campos. Garrido is there, Davidov is there, and that group of 5 is chasing a lead group of 2, which consists of Balázs Adolf and Jamie Duro. So, of course, when you have a group of 5, it gets especially interesting when you get to Portage time, because it's much easier when there's just a small group and there's only 1 or 2 of you. When there's 5 of you all trying to get a little bit of pontoon space, then it can become very challenging indeed. So we've hit the 25-minute mark in this men's final.
The score is 0-6.
And the field's spread out quite a way, but I like the look of having the... Now, is that Tarnowski in there as well? What a morning he's had. He's already been on the sprint. He's got another race this afternoon in the sprints. So he will really... Now, here we go. We are having a bit of a move. We missed the first Portage, unfortunately, but looks like no struggle there. Jamie Duro just taking his time, Balash Adolf on the other side of the pontoon. They're both in and out safely. And they are still together, but the interesting transition will be for the next group as they come in now. And I think that Manuel Garrido has been dropped. I think he's been dropped. I think he has been shaken off, and that now is a chase pack of 4. We'll get confirmation in just a moment when they come to the pontoon, but I think that Manuel Garrido has been dropped from that chase pack. So it now becomes a group of 4 as they come down now to the pontoon. I know it's not on you. Here we go. So let's have a look at this. There's Campos, there's Maciel, and there's the 2 Ukrainians. And Campos looking pretty comfortable, isn't he? And there you see Garrido there. He has been dropped. He needs, oh, geez, a lot of water in Davidov's boat, but he's managed to tip that out. So Manuel Campos, as he does so often, charging through the portage. Maciel, the Portuguese, right there with him. He's going to get straight in behind him. So is this going to split this group of 4? As Davidov and Yanchuk, the 2 Ukrainians, also getting into their boat. What has that done to the chase pack? Are they going to regroup now? Campos and Maciel are back there together. And let's see if the Ukrainians have stuck with them. It looks like they've spread out a little bit, but I suspect they'll come together now and race again as a group of 4. Looks like a little bit of confusion there about which side of that buoy to go, but they've sorted it out now. And looks like finally somebody else is going to take over the lead. Sergio Maciel from Portugal says, give me a go now. You've done enough. Let me have a go. So Manuel Campos happy to yield, happy to let someone else do the heavy lifting for a little while. And Davidov, now looks like we might have dropped. Have we dropped the second Ukrainian? We have. So the chase pack suddenly is down to 3. Wow. I tell you what, did not take long. It did not take long, and I can tell you that Garrido, he is going backwards faster than he's going forwards at the moment because he's just been overtaken by another paddler, so he is well and truly out of the loop. And I think also one of the Ukrainians is Yanchuk, who might also be getting dropped by that chase pack. So that chase pack, which was 5, is now down to 3. Meanwhile, at the front of the men's competition, what a great view that is from our drone. And we haven't seen some shots from the front of the men's or the women's for a little while. We'll try and get an update in just a moment on how they're tracked. Well, there we go. There we go. Ludmila Babak back where she feels most comfortable. And that is at the front of the field. The question for Shankova now is, can she hold on to Babak, or does she just want to now focus on making sure that she holds on to the silver medal position? Because Ludmila Babak, once she gets a lead like that, it is very, very hard to run her down. Shankova digging deep, but Babak has put a bit of distance there between herself and her Ukrainian teammate. I have no idea what is happening in the race for the bronze at this stage. At one stage, I think the last we saw, it was Annette Werman from Germany who was looking quite prominent, but we haven't seen pictures for a little while yet. Now, I don't have access to any live updates, unfortunately, so as soon as we see something, I'll pass it on. No doubt about who's winning. It is Ludmila Babak from her Ukrainian teammate Olena Shankova. Now it looks like we might have, yes, there's 2 Chinese athletes. Now are they closing in on Shankova? Well, we might be about to see a coming together. Hard to tell from this angle, but I think that Shankova could very, very soon get a nasty fright, because there are two Chinese paddlers who are looking pretty strong, who are moving up. And in fact, if that angle, oh gee, well, we're going to see in just a moment, they are going to come together. So the two Chinese athletes, I wonder if they're working together, are going to come up, and all of a sudden Babak will have a chase group behind her of 3, potentially working together. There is the French paddler Hewitt.
Canoe Polo, page number 1. Go for Team Portugal. The score is 0-8.
And it looks like the Hewitt there, and it looks like one of the Hungarian athletes that is there with her. Might be, let's have a look, it might be Matkovic. Or is it Hegedus? There's 2 Hungarians in this field. But the women have been going just over 24 minutes now. So a nice little crowd down here at the Hangzhou Whitewater Centre, or Water Canoe Centre.
Canoe Polo, page number 1.
And they've got lots to watch at the moment, because they've got canoe polo happening right in front of them. They've got the marathon happening. In just a little while, they'll have a dragon boat. Now look at that. This is interesting. So suddenly, Shankova has been overtaken, and the Chinese are now, that is Wang in the second boat, and is it Chow who was very good yesterday? Yes, it is. So Chow is moving up on Babak. Well, and look at that. She is going to be joining Babak in just a moment. And suddenly this women's race is on. Here they come down to the pontoon. So it is Babak first. She's going to get a surprise when she turns around. And oh, though, Chow's a little bit slow out of the boat, as is Wang. And Shankova suddenly finds herself in 4th position, out of the medals. The two Chinese coming together now. So Babak's put a little bit of distance between herself and the Chinese at this pontoon. But this race is wide open, because the Chinese have really made up some ground in the last kilometre or so. So Babak, will she look over her shoulder and have a look to see what's going on? I don't think she has. So Babak, there is the German Werman. So she's currently sitting in 5th, I believe. No, she might be in 6th, in fact. There's Shankova, and she's going to be dropped here. She's going to find herself in some bother. So there's 3 Chinese, in fact, up there challenging for the medals. So Babak continues to lead, but she is being chased down by the Chinese. They are after her, and look at that. Look at that gap. It has well and truly closed, and we have a race on. That is Wang. Chow is back here. She'll catch up, don't worry about that. She is much better over the water than she is over the pontoon, I can tell you. So I'm expecting that she will close that gap. Shankova, well, I don't know. I don't know if she'll be able to stick with them. You can see there Chow now, she digs deep. She is putting in some hard yards there. She'll close that gap, I would think, very, very soon. But I think Babak and Wang, they may have come together. In fact, I'm looking across from where I'm sitting in the commentary position. It is still Babak, but Wang is with her. All right, let's have a look at the front here of the men. A bit of a crossover with some of the women, but they are still together, Adolf and Duro, as they come down for this second portage for the men. Adolf and Duro running together. There's some of the women in there as well. So it's going to start getting a bit congested in the pontoon stakes, in the Portage stakes. The Adolf and Duro, they are still going, cheek by jowl, as they come down to get back into the water. They go on opposite sides of the pontoon. And they're pretty well identical restart, so they are still going to be together.
Welcome to Fuyang Water Sports Center for the ICF Hangzhou
Adolf
Super Cup.
and Duro, and I'm just looking now, I'm wondering where the...
Heat number 1.
I'll let you know when we get the next...
Match between
The chase group from the men come down to the pontoon. But it is Duro and Adolf in the men's. They are still out in front, and it looks like they've really opened up a big gap. Now, I'm just trying to have a look here at the men. No one coming down to the pontoon yet, so that chase group, it looks like there might be a chase group of... You can see the 2 men, definitely Campos is there. And I think it is one of the Ukrainians, but we'll get that. You can see just in the background there, I think you can see Manuel Campos there coming down there, and with him, one of the Ukrainians, and I think that might be Yanchuk, is it? Let's just wait and see when they get to the pontoon. But that chase group might now just be 2 running for that, chasing for that bronze medal. So the women's competition have really strung them out, but it is a fascinating contest at the front of the field, which we'll get back to in just a moment. But I'm looking now to see, we've got the men on the chase group are now on the pontoon. So let's see, I think it is, there they are. There's Campos. And there is Davidov, the 2 men together. That is your 3rd and 4th at the moment, Campos and Davidov. They are underway. They are trying to bridge that gap.
Canoe Polo Beach number
Wow, this is, I don't know where to turn here. Now, there we are. There is the front of the women's race, and you can see Wang has made a big move, and she is up there, annoying the heck out of Ludmila Babak. So that is Lizzie, sorry, that is Wang from China, Ying Wang.
Ladies and gentlemen, Canoe Polo Beach number 2, end of match. The score
Looking
is
pretty comfortable too, I must say, having made the big effort to bridge that gap. Now let's have a look and see if we can find where the 3rd and 4th are. As we pan out a little bit, there seems to be a bit of it. There's Chow now. How far back has she dropped? Is she within touch still? Looks like that she has dropped.
The score is 1-2.
Looks like she has dropped Shankova though. So Chow is really by herself. Paddling by herself. She's in no person's land. Strung between that lead group of 2. There they are. There's the gap between the first 2 and Chow, who's sitting in 3rd. And I think Shankova is back quite a way as well. So Chow is really on her own. And that is going to be tough going for Chow. She was there alongside Wang for so long, but lost some ground at the Portage, and now has
Page number 2, women. This
found
match
herself
is Team New Zealand.
well and truly off the pace for that race for gold medal. But that competition is wide open in the women's, as it is in the men's, because it is a race in 2 in the men's and it is a race in 2 in the women's, but we have so much more to go.
Now begins.
There is Shankova there. So yeah, you can see there's quite a gap there between 3rd and 4th. Poor old Chow, she is stuck there in the middle. As they come down now, they'll have another Portage shortly, and maybe she could make up some ground there, but Babak is very, very good at the portages. So Wang is right up alongside Babak. Babak, though, refusing to give way. Just making, in fact, looks like Babak might have picked up the pace a little bit. Maybe she's trying to shake Wang. She probably thinks, well, she had to put in so much effort to get back in touch with me. I'm going to test her medal here. I'm going to see how much she's got Now in the men's race, yep, they're still side by side. Duro and Adolf, they have been there since the start. And they are still going strongly together out in front. Jamie Duro won the short course yesterday. Balázs Adolf, 2021 world champion. And they have led since the start, and they have this race really to themselves. There's a big gap back. There we are. There's the... oh, hang on a minute. What's happening here? So there's Campos. And is that Garrido who's come up alongside him? So has Manuel Garrido somehow managed to tack himself back on? He has. He has. So Garrido is back up alongside Campos and Davidov. So suddenly that's a group of 3 again. Well, that is very surprising, because I thought they had shaken Manuel Garrido, but he is back there and he is in that pack again. So that is a good fight back for the 2022 world champion. And Davidov is there, but the second of the Ukrainians, Yanchuk, I can't see him. Not sure where he is in relation to that pack. So there we have our 2 men, our leading men. They're coming down now towards another portage. Jamie Duro in the white shirt. Just behind him in the green singlet, it is Balázs Adolf, the young Hungarian. And I think, let's have a look. I can't see the men at the top of the screen yet, so that is a big gap between those 2 and the race for 3rd. There they are. That's them now at the top of the screen. So that, look at that. That is a long way. And is that the Portuguese paddler as well? I think he's still trying to hang on as well. Sergio Maciel, he was there and did a lot of the work to bring that group together, but he's obviously overspent. So here we are, coming down now. Our 2 race leaders in the men's C1. Jamie Duro and Balázs Adolf sharing the workload. They've taken turns to lead, taken turns to do the heavy lifting. It is such a long race and it is so hard to do it on your own. And they have made sure that there is no other threat to them for this gold and silver medal. The only question will be, when will one of these 2 make a move to try and blow the other one away? I think at the moment they'd want to just stick together for as long as they possibly can. Much better to work with each other than work against each other. So Adolf taking his turn in the lead. Duro sitting back in 2nd position. Jamie Duro, silver in 2022 in the short course race, but this will be a big result for him if he can get up there on the podium, which you would think, unless he suddenly hits the wall and can go no further. It'd be very hard to see him being denied a podium today at this Super Cup, 2024 Super Cup, coming to you live from Hangzhou in China. My name is Ross Solly. It's my great privilege to be able to bring you this racing today. We've got so much more to come. We've got Dragon Boat, we've got Canoe Sprint, we've got Canoe Slalom, all coming your way later today, later tonight, early this morning, wherever you're watching around the world. I know we've got viewers on every continent, and it is a great privilege to have you watching and enjoying. I'm hoping you're enjoying the racing. Look at that. That is your men's chase group. So the 2 Spaniards are there and the Ukrainian. And now we come down here and to the portage, the next portage for the men, and they're going to come in together, Adolf and Duro. And as they've done, no one trying to sneak an advantage there. Look at them, they're almost jogging along. It's like they're going for a Sunday jog. And is that Shankova in front there? So they're about to catch the second of the Ukrainian women. But look at that, it is almost like they're out talking about what they've done during the week. How was work for you this week? Not bad. How was it for you? Yeah, all right. Did a bit of stuff, got some stuff done, worked from home a little bit, fixed up the garden, bloody blah blah. So in they go. No great effort here to try and sneak a lead. Just happy to get the job done, get back in the water. Off they go again. They'll get sick of the sight of each other eventually, but look at that. Now they are moving up on the third and fourth place getters in the women. So very soon, ooh, what's happening here? The two Spaniards and Yanchuk from Ukraine. They are together now, this pack of three. Are they making any headway though? I don't think so. And there you can see the Portuguese paddler Maciel and the second of the Ukrainians, Davidov, are there as well. So they haven't completely shaken those two, but there's quite a gap. That's a bit misleading, that angle, I think. But I'm happy to see Manuel Garrido back there in that group, because I thought he had been given the big heave-ho out of that chase pack, but somehow he's managed to make up the ground to get back there and to join that group and to join Manuel Campos, his Spanish teammate. And together they can work with Yanchuk from Ukraine to try and bridge that gap. We've got a long way to go, so there's plenty of opportunity. As they come down, they'll be heading down now to the Portage. Nobody really looks like they're trying to blow this apart either, this chase group, although what's happening here looks like maybe Yanchuk trying something. So Campos is out. Ooh, Garrido is out. Tell you what, it's not the smoothest of transitions. Campos, as always, looks pretty strong on the Portage. Are they going to try and stick together still? It doesn't look like it, does it? It looks like they're all trying to sneak a little bit of an advantage. Oh, a bit of argy-bargy there between David. Oh, look at this. It's like, oh, no. What is going on here? Who was here first? Get out of my way. Oh, what is happening? What has happened there? So Garrido refusing to yield, even though he had no obligation to. He absolutely had no obligation to. Davidov was there in his face trying to get an advantage, and Garrido would not yield, and he said, nope, I'm here, and he just stood there. He just stood there and says, I'm not moving. What that meant, though, was that Manuel Campos got away from them. So he's managed to sneak away, and while the Spaniard and the Ukrainian were having a little bit of a blue, Manuel Campos has got away. And Garrido and Davidov now back there fighting amongst themselves. That was a comedy of errors there on that Portage. I mean, there's so much space there. Like, seriously, there is so much space to get in the water without getting in anybody's face. And maybe it's a psychological thing, I don't know, but there was so much space, but they both insisted on putting their boats on in exactly the same place. And, well, you saw what happened. Great work by our camera team to pick that up. There's Chow. She's still all by herself. And out in front, Babak and Wang. Now, is Babak making a bit of a move here? Looks like the gap, there might be... Ooh, Wang a little bit unsteady there. Maybe a little bit of a gap opening up, is there, at the front there? For Ludmila Babak. Don't forget, Wang has put in an enormous amount of work to try and bridge that gap and to join that lead position. How much effort has she put in, though? And how much petrol does she have in the tank? There's Annette Werman, the German, who I think at the moment might be in fifth or sixth place. So here we go. We've got beautiful scenery here too. Look at the backdrop here. Some mountains in the background, lots of greenery. Perfect conditions here as a goal is scored in the canoe polo. You might have heard a bit of cheering going on there. So no matter where you look, there is action here today in Hangzhou in China.
Number 1. Go for Team China. The score is 1-4.
So crossed over the 41-minute mark now in the women's race. There we have the two leaders, Babak and Wang. So Wang is still there. She's not going away. Chow is trying to bridge the gap. And look, there's the men as well. So that is your overall race leaders. In the women, Babak and Wang. In the men, Juro and Adolf. So they are your leaders right there, and they are your lead competition. That is where all the action is. Chow there trying to make some ground up in the women's. And still hanging on just by her fingernails is Shankova from Ukraine. But these four leaders, the two men and the two women, are almost going to come down to the next portage together, which will be very interesting to see who gives way and who wants to flex their muscles, because I reckon they're going to come down to this portage almost at the same time. We'll wait and see if that unfolds. But Juro leading Adolf in the men's and Babak leading Wang in the women's. So fascinating races in both the men's and the women's canoe, as you would hope so at a Super Cup, the Hangzhou 2024 ICF Super Cup. There's Babak and Wang on closest to the riverbank. And out there, a little bit further out, you have Juro and Adolf. I think the men may go past women. I'm just looking, I'm straining around here to see. Yes, I think that by the time we get to the portage, the men will be in the lead. It looks like they're now moving up alongside the women. So Babak and Wang, if they look over, they'll see Juro and Adolf from the men. And they are almost now alongside each other. I tell you what, Babak's holding her own well and truly alongside the men, making them work a bit to get in front of the incredibly experienced 7-time ICF world champion Ludmila Babak. Now Adolf moves into the lead. Balash Adolf decides that he wants to have a crack at the lead. So he takes over from Jamie Juro. Ludmila Babak still leading, has not been headed since Shankova took the lead early on in the race, but Babak has pretty well been there since then. Look at the men. I reckon there's a bit of a move happening here. I think that Adolf has picked up the pace a little bit. Juro's going with him though, so he's not being shaken. Meanwhile, Wang just jumping into the slipstream of Ludmila Babak, maybe catching her breath for a little bit. As the men now, they look like they're coming down towards the portage, so the men will be in front by the time we get to the portage. Fascinating race for the men and the women, as the men clock over the 46-minute mark of this race.
Canoe polo pitch number 1. The second quarter of the match now begins.
Big gap back now. You can see Chow, that is Chow from China, is the next best paddler, trying to get across to the lead two women, but it would take a superhuman effort for her to close that gap. with Babak and Wang seemingly pushing each other on. All right, we're coming down now for the next portage for the men. And it is going to be Adolf who gets out of the boat first, I suspect. And Duro, they'll go to opposite sides now. There's been no effort at all so far for anyone to try and sneak an advantage at these portages. Let's see what happens here. Nope, same old, same old. They're still just trotting alongside each other, patiently waiting. And now the women come in, Babak and Wang. You'll see them in the background. So Babak is out and Wang is out as well, yes, now. So great contest for both. Look at the men, they are just running alongside each other, just keeping pace, enjoying themselves as much as they possibly can. They go to opposite sides to make sure there's no drama, make sure that they don't get in each other's way. Looks like Adolf taking forever to get back in his boat. I'll tell you, if Duro wanted to now, he could make a little break, but he doesn't. Just quite comfortable, just going along at his own pace, letting Adolf get up alongside him again. Ludmila Babak, though, she's not so keen to have someone alongside her. She's desperate to shake this challenge off, this Chinese challenge that is coming in the form of Ying Wang. A little bit of a gap, though, now. So Babak did put some distance on that portage between herself and Ying Wang. Will Wang try and make up that ground again and get back on the coattails of Ludmila Babak? There is your men's chase group, and let's have a look here. What has happened? So it is the two Spaniards, and I think that Davidov has dropped back. Yes, he has, because that is Maciel and Yang Chuk who is there. And I think the other athlete might be getting lapped. So I reckon that chase group has backed down to two again, the two Spaniards, because I think Davidov has been dropped and he's now back with his Ukrainian teammate Yanchuk and the Portuguese paddler Maciel. So, and it looks like another paddler there. Who's the paddler on the outside? One of the Chinese paddlers is it? That is joined to that group. Bit hard to tell who's been lapped and who's in the lead group, but I'll try and get, I'm just trying to see here. Unfortunately, some of the numbers don't match up with our start list. But definitely the two Spaniards, Campos and Garrido, are now on their own, but it does look like one of the Chinese athletes maybe has moved into outright fourth, but we'll try and get there. Coming down for the portage, we'll try and get an idea when they come to the pontoon who is who here. So Maciel is still there from Portugal, the two Ukrainians now alongside each other. But it is Manuel Campos, the leading Spaniard. Manuel Garrido, who I thought had been dropped and had lost touch, he's back there and he's now moved into this challenge for third position as we come down. So Campos will be out of the water first. Yes, he is. Garrido there with him. One of the women, looks like one of the Spaniards is there as well. And then we have, yes, interesting. So that looks like we have Maciel from Portugal. And, oh, what's happened there for Davidov? Lost his boat momentarily. Yanchuk is there. Campos looking pretty comfortable, as is Garrido. That is mighty fine performance from Manuel Garrido. Numbers 1 and 2 on their bibs. And there we have boat number 54 for the women. And now let's have a look here. So there's Davidov, there's Maciel from Portugal. And let's have a look here.
Canoe Polo pitch number 1. Go for Team Poland. The score is 1-5.
Yep.
批定球项目1号场地，波兰队进球，比分5-1，波兰队暂时领先。
So Duro and Adolf still out in front for the men. And they are right alongside each other. I think that Ludmila Babak maybe has put some space now between herself and Ying Wang in the women's race. which might make it easier for Chow to catch up to her Chinese teammate again, and maybe they can start working together again, but we'll get a better picture of that. And then, insofar as the chase group goes, well, for the men, it is Campos and Garrido working together for the chase group for the men. And for the women, well, yeah, it's interesting because you have Wang, who's trying to hold on to Babak still, desperately trying to hold on. Now, I'm just looking across the field now to the men, and it looks like Maciel and Davidov are together, and it looks like Yanchuk has been dropped from that chase as well. So things starting to shape up again in this competition. And I'm looking now, trying to find the women, and it looks to me from here that Babak has moved. It's a long way away, so, and my eyes aren't as sharp as they once were. But anyway, we'll get a focus on the women's leading pack in just a moment, but it is, well, it's not a pack, I think it's one person. But it is Adolf and Duro, as that they have been for so long, and they are still there alongside each other, working with each other.
The score is 1-6.
Still biding their time, or waiting to see who will make the move, who will make the killer move. We're not far away now from the real business end of the race as Duro takes the lead again. Adolf slips in behind. Big gap there as we pan out. Big gap there for anybody, in fact. They are really enjoying a race to themselves. And a chance to have a look across the field now and see where now there's Babak. And as I predicted, as I said, she has well and truly dropped Ying Wang. Ying Wang's still not in the picture, so Babak has made her move. After that last portage, there is Ying Wang. And I reckon Chow, the second of the Chinese, will not be far behind. Let's have a look. So there's Wang. No, there's a bit of a gap there, so they've really spread it out. Babak has really blown this race apart. There she is. Wang worked so hard to get up and get back in touch. But now, when Babak wants to go, she goes, and she has really blown Wang out of the water. There's Chow, the second of the Chinese, in third position. Now, she looks like she's really digging deep here. Maybe she's going to try and make a move on the second position. There's Chow there. So she is working really, really hard, maybe to get up alongside her. They were working alongside each other for so long. But then when they reached the front group, when they reached Babak, suddenly Chow got dropped. And now she's trying to get back in touch. But whether anybody can, as our leaders get towards the business end, the part of the race where the gold medal will be decided, Babak is certainly not going to start slowing down, you would think. She's just so focused, so experienced. Has been in this position so... No, there we go. That's giving us an idea. Yeah, that angle doesn't really show that it's quite a big gap there between Babak and Wang. The interesting thing will be if Chow moves up alongside Wang, if she manages to get alongside her Chinese teammate again, and whether they can work together to maybe make up a bit of distance. So here we go, the lead two men, Adolf and Duro, as they have been for pretty well the entire race, just working alongside each other. And just perfect paddling, just not overdoing it, but certainly not giving any let up there. No chance at all for the chase group to make up any ground, and I think we can see them in the distance It was last time we saw there were two Spanish, Garrido and Campos. They were together, but a long way back. Balash, Adolf, there they are, at the top of the course. Gee, they look like they don't look like they're in any hurry. And looks like, in fact, that is about to become a group of four again. Is it? What is happening here? So the two Spaniards have decided that they don't want to just work with each other anymore. And now Sergio Maciel is back, as is Davidov from Ukraine. So that now is once again a group of four. Talk about confusing, talk about interesting tactics. And there we have our two leaders. Look at them, once again, just jogging alongside each other. I don't know who to back in a sprint, by the way, if that's what it comes down to. Now, this could be interesting. There could be a slower athlete here who... Nope, they're fine. So, Duro and Adolf, once again, just jogging alongside each other. No attempt to out-sprint each other. No attempt to try and get any advantage. They go to opposite sides of the pontoon again. Just biding their time, pacing themselves. In their own mind, they'll know when they want to make a move, when they want to try and flex their muscle. But at the moment, they have this race sewn up. The big question will be who will win the gold and who will win the silver. That is what remains as the big question. So now it's 11:43 local time. So we're getting very much close to the... I apologise, I've lost count of how many portages we've had. Look at this, they are well and truly just paddling within themselves at the moment. There is no attempt at all to try and break the other paddler. And there is your chase back, and there's not a lot of enthusiasm there for making the big move either, I don't think. Because Manuel Campos is just cruising out in front. Manuel Garrido right next to him. And then Maciel and Davidov, the Portuguese and the Ukrainian. So a group of four, only one can win the medal, of course. Now, here we go. Have the Chinese come together? I think they have. I think they have. So Chow has bridged that gap, and now she's there alongside Ying Wang. So are they going to work together? I mean, that would make sense. Oh, that would make sense to try and bridge the gap, to somehow push each other. I mean, it's a big ask to move across to the gap that Ludmila Babak has opened up. And I'm just looking here as they come past me. It's not insurmountable, that is for sure. And you'll see Babak here now. There she is. There's Babak at the top of the screen. That is your gap. And there is Ying Wang. And right on the other side, her Chinese teammate, Yahoo Child. There they are. They're together. They are together. And will they work together? You would hope so. You would hope so, that they will push each other and try and make up this gap with Ludmila Babak, who just looks so comfortable. She must get bored being out in front by herself, though. I guess she sings some songs. Maybe in her own mind she writes a novel, thinks about what she's going to have for dinner tonight. Just stuff. She's got so much time on her hands. So Babak leads from the two Chinese. I'd say they're opposite me on the course now. I would say it's probably 150 meters as the men's chase group comes down to the pontoon. All right, let's see if a move can be made here. Campos, Garrido, Maciel and Davidov. There we go. Campos out first. Maciel out second. Garrido third, and Davidov is the fourth one out of the water in that chase group. So a group of four And then back to the next chase group of 2. Look at Campos, so he really charges along these pontoons. Garrido moves into second in that chase group, Davidov, and then Maciel, possibly not the fastest of the runners, and this time they all spread out. Although once again, Davidov gets in, and Garrido not impressed. He's not impressed because this is a replay of what happened at the last put-in. So Davidov and Garrido just getting up each other's noses a little bit. And what that means is, once again, Manuel Campos heads off in front and everybody else has to bridge the gap again. He won't care. He'll think this is great. You guys have to keep working to try and bridge the gap. Every time I sneak away, when you guys fight amongst each other on the pontoon, I'll get away from you and head off, make life a little bit more difficult for you. As we look at Ludmila Babak, just going through the motions out there in the lead. Now the 2 Chinese are together. I can see that on the far side of the course, so they are working together now. And last time they did that, they were able to pick up, there they are, they were able to bridge the gap very quickly. So Chow has now moved into second. So she's the strongest of the 2 by the look of things. So maybe Chow is, and she was very good yesterday, by the way, in the short course. So maybe she is the threat. She is the athlete who possibly, if anybody is going to make a move on Ludmila Babak, maybe it's Chow, who's now moved into second. But you can see there on that picture, the gap is considerable, but not insurmountable. So there's Babak. On the left-hand side of the screen, Chow is about to come into picture. And then that will give you, there we are, there's Chow. Now, where's Wang? Has Wang been dropped, or she's still hanging on? But I think that looks like Chow is going it alone. Look at this. Chow really digging deep here. I think she fancies her chances of getting across here. I think she fancies her chances of reeling in the Ukrainian. That will be something to behold if she's able to pull that off. Because Ludmila Babak does not get run down all that often when she has a lead like that. But I think that Chow is... So that must have been the short lap. We must be coming down now for the finish, are we? Are we coming down for the... We might be heading down to the finish line, are we? Let's wait and see. I think that was the short lap there for the women. I think we're heading down for the finish, which will mean that I don't think that Babak can get headed here. Let's have a look. I'm looking out now. I think this is the race for the finish line. And Ludmila Babak is very close now to adding yet another gold medal to her very extensive collection. So the Ukrainian Ludmila Babak. And now it looks like Wang possibly challenging for the silver. So the 2 Chinese are going to have it out for the silver medal. It's still Chow in front, but it looks like Wang is trying to get back in touch. But Ludmila Babak, no doubt about her. What an incredible athlete she is. Just has dominated women's canoe for so long. And she comes down now to add yet another title to a glittering career. Really is amazing to watch and to see somebody who could do so much. Coming down now in front of the grandstand, Ludmila Babak will take the gold. The race is on for silver. I can tell you it is Chow in front of Wang. Wang is doing everything to try and pin back her Chinese teammate, but Chow, it looks like she's... Tell you what, Chow has really closed the gap on Babak in this last sprint. And Babak, though, I think, knew she had this race locked away some time ago. As Chow really puts a lot of clear water between herself and Wang. Now, Wang has thrown in the towel. That is enough for her. She's going to settle for the bronze. But Ludmila Babak from Ukraine coming now down to take the gold medal. Here she goes, crossing the line now. What a wonderful performance from Ludmila Babak. She is the Super Cup 2024 ICF champion in the women's canoe marathon. And you're about to see, coming into picture now, there she is. Chow from China will take the silver. What a brave race. What a brave race she has paddled. And there is her Chinese teammate, Wang, who moves into third position. Well done to our 3 medalists. Outstanding performance today. And we now wait to see in the men's competition whether there has been a move on. I'm looking out across the course now, and I think I can see them coming down now to the pontoon again. I think it looks like it's still Adolf and Duro together. Adolf slightly in the lead here, Duro alongside him. They are getting down to the business end. I think they'll have this pontoon, this portage, and then I think it might be the short lap. I've lost count. I apologize for that, but they must be very close now to the big finish as they get on the pontoon. I'll just concentrate on this. I know you haven't got the pictures, but Adolf, oh, looks like Adolf is making a move. There he is. Balázs Adolf has made his move. Duro trying to tack back on. So Adolf has made the move now on possibly, I think, the last portage. He's decided enough of this. I am going to flex my muscles. Keep up with me if you can. Duro doing his best to get across there as one of the lapped athletes. He's told not to get in the way. So look at that. Adolf there gets into the water. Duro now, can he stay in touch? Can he get back in touch with the Hungarian? I don't know that he can. Look at that. He looks like a tired man, Jamie Duro. He's been there alongside the Hungarians since the start. But I reckon, let's have a look here. Duro, he looks tired. Has he got one more surge in him? Adolf has made the move though as he came down to that last portage. He thought, okay, let's go. Can you go with me? And the answer was no. So Balázs Adolf putting some clear water now between himself and Jamie Duro, the 2021 world champion, is out in the lead. Duro now has a big call to make. He's pretty safe in second. The third and fourth boats are still some way off from their last portage, so he is secure in the knowledge that he has at least a silver. The question for him is, does he want to make a push for the gold? I don't think he's got it in him. He looks tired. He looks very tired, whereas Balázs Adolf, well, he's looking very relaxed. Look at that. He is looking like a man who's been in full training as he charges down the far side of the course. And then he'll come around, and I think this is the last of their laps. I apologize. We didn't get any bell, and we used to get in the canoe marathon, we used to get the famous canoe marathon music, of course, when they were coming into the last lap. The final countdown, they used to blare that out over the speakers, but unfortunately we didn't have that today. I missed that. It was very nice. So look at that. Adolf just clearing out now. He has put on a bit of a clinic this afternoon. Duro looks so tired. He looks so tired, but he is clearly going to take the silver medal unless he really hits the wall and cannot go on, because I can't see the chase pack yet. They have not come in front of my commentary position. And I'm just straining my neck to see if I can spot them, but I can't. I don't know where they are. They are still well back. Look at that, Jamie Duro. He is really a very, very tired man. But what a race. What a brave race he has paddled. Been there since the start alongside the young Hungarian Balázs Adolf. But unfortunately, when Adolf decided it was time to make his move, Duro had nothing. He had nothing to go with. And as a result, there he is, Balázs Adolf. Now, let's see, is he going to Come around the turn here. Comfortably in the lead. There's Duro there in the background. A couple of the stragglers there that they've got to get round, but Adolf has a sneaky look over his shoulder. He very much like what he's seen as he comes around. And I think we'll be heading towards the finish line, will he, if my counting is correct? About 1 hour, that's about right. Is that a smile? I reckon that might be a smile from Balázs Adolf. Another look over the shoulder. Thank you very much. He thinks this is fun. Now it's time for some fun. I'm going to go down. I'm going to enjoy this as the chase pack now get to the pontoon. So the chase pack have just arrived at the pontoon, and I can tell you that is still a group of 3. So that the race for bronze is very interesting. And Manuel Campos, there he is. Look at that. Manuel Campos, he is sprinting hard. He's trying to blow this pack apart. That is Davidov from Ukraine right with him, and Manuel Garrido, the 3rd Spaniard there as well, trying to hold on. So Campos makes his move. Davidov's not going away, though. He definitely wants to be in the fight for the bronze. So that race will be worth watching. Oh, Garrido, we nearly got tangled up in the bunting there. That would be awkward. So that will come back to that contest, because I think the race for 3rd is going to be very, very interesting. But let's focus now back on Balázs Adolf, because he's coming down now towards the finish line, the Hungarian, to become the 2024 Men's Super Cup champion. Here he is, heading down now. It's got about 300 meters to go, and he will cross the finish line to take the gold medal. Balázs Adolf from Hungary. Perfectly judged race, really, and now coming down to become the champion. Made his move on that, heading into that last portage after paddling alongside the Spaniard Duro for most of the race, and then just made the move. And look at him now, he's looking very strong. Coming down now, he's about 150 meters now from the finish line. Balázs Adolf to become our inaugural Canoe Marathon Super Cup champion. What a performance. I think he's also doing some sprint racing as well while he's here. So he's got a busy time in front of him. I tell you who we haven't seen today is Sergei Tarnovsky. So maybe he's just keeping his powder dry for the sprint later on today. But he comes down now to the finish line. Balázs Adolf crosses the line now. He is the champion, the Super Cup champion. And actually not far behind in the end. And not that far behind is Jamie Duro. You'll see him coming to the picture in just a moment. He is going to take the silver medal. He'll come into the picture now, I think, Jamie Duro. There he is. There's your silver medalist. Brave race, tough race for Jamie Duro. But he'd be pretty happy. He'd be happy